Welcome to the Afterspin, opinions from thought leaders in our state. I want to ask John Hood and Chris Fitzsimon, high-speed broadband internet access is essential today, but in many rural areas they don't have access. A bill in the legislature would allow municipal governments to use taxpayer dollars to build their own infrastructure, but then require that they lease the network to a private service provider. We get the arguments that government shouldn't compete with the private sector, but the private sector can't or won't build out the service. Why shouldn't the municipal government be able to operate it? Give me your opinions on that, Chris.
Well, I think they should be able to operate it. And this General Assembly stopped that, years ago. And there was a great story when Wilson was having so much success, and there was a sweet potato farmer who lived just over the line in Nash County. He wanted to access it and help his business, and he couldn't do it because Nash County couldn't do it. I think this legislation or this idea shows the fundamental problem, which is you can't make a ton of money, or private enterprise would already be doing it. I think we've gotten to the point now in our society and in e-commerce and infrastructure that high-speed internet broadband access is a utility. It's just like water, it's just like electricity. It's something that you really can't not have in your community. If private folks, industry doesn't find it profitable, I think local governments have to do it.
You've spoken about this a few times, John, so far as competing against the private sector.
Right.
But there is no competition with the private sector here because they don't want to get in it.
Of course there's competition. You're competing for access to the internet, which is present in virtually all communities. You're talking about the speed of the access versus the cost of it. And the Wall Street Journal news team just did a fantastic months-long examination of actually how much bandwidth is used by people who have technically high-speed connections, and for the vast majority it is a very small percentage of the capacity. So a lot of this is still a bit hyped over reality, and the next generation of technology is going to leapfrog a lot of these systems that are based on wire to the home, and we just need to be careful that the government doesn't get by yesterday's technology in an attempt to compete with tomorrow's private firms. And that's all I'm saying. I think that there are some situations where local government's going to have to build out systems for the purpose of the local government. And I even think there are some entities already in the rural areas that already have rights of way that ought to be in this business if they want to be.
And what you're saying makes a lot of sense. But if my kid can't get his homework done because he can't get decent access to the internet, why shouldn't the local government be able to do this?
Internet access is a different question from high-speed internet access. That's the point I'm trying to make.
Okay, all right.
It's economic development primarily. I mean, I think families can use satellite and a lot of other things, but the high-speed internet is an economic development tool. It's hard to get businesses to come to areas that don't have that available. And I get that the technology is changing, but it's a pretty hard sell to tell a small town who's trying to recruit a company, well, just don't worry about it. Eventually, there'll be a new technology coming. What are they supposed to do until then? I think there's a way to work this out. I don't think that every government should have broadband internet access all over the place, but we got to do something about our rural areas, and this is a priority, I think. Interesting.
Now, the legislature is taking steps in allowing more money. They're appropriating more fund for rural communities. I think there was $10 million in the budget this past cycle to help communities in getting this access.
Yes.
Help buy this in. Anyway, it's a topic we're going to continue talking about, I'm sure, for some time. And we thank you for watching the Afterspin. We'll have more video all during the week on ncspin.com.